This Philadelphia Eagles team preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up with SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
This is Clay Harbor. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. I guess we're here to talk about the Eagles.
How about those Eagles? Philadelphia Eagles. Hashtag go Birds. I'm super high on this team, Ryan. This is one of those years you come in, things are just clicking right. Yeah, last year, sure, it ended in disaster, but ultimately, hey, it was the classic Super Bowl hangover year. The Eagles drank some Gatorade, had some ibuprofen. The hangover hit later on, but yeah, clearly having inexperienced / shitty coordinators was a huge part of the downfall. Some unlucky breaks when it comes to turnover worthy plays. I mean, Hurts. He had 2.3% interception turnover worthy plays, but ended up a couple breaks went against them. Their turnover differential -10, and they were still 11-6. So if that can just break a little bit, right? If we can get some competent offensive coordinator, competent defensive coordinator, the offensive line still really strong. And I know what you're saying, Sean. What about the secondary? But we got Quinyon Mitchell. They gambled, pun intended, on Eli Rogers, who looks to be a great steal.
What was the gamble?
People gave up on him. I guess they didn't really have to gamble much, honestly. People, the Colts gave up on him because the guy likes parlays. They got him at a great price. They had to sit him down next year because of the suspension, and now he looks to be a nice part of the offense. We got Darius Slade.
Do you remember what they were saying about him? Remember the intel we got before he got suspended? It was disappointing because it was a guy about to do something.
Yeah.
It was a guy about to take a step.
No, and shout out to Eli Rogers, who responded to my tweet about him. I took a screenshot. Maybe Josh is able to find it on the fly there. I tweeted out a photo of they were doing an interview on NFL Network asking Eli Rogers about what he did in his year off with the gambling suspension while they're running the Eagles win total below on the ticker. Just kind of a highlight of the I don't know.
He was the patsy, or one of the patsies.
He was a fall guy, classic fall guy.
Calvin Ridley, probably the biggest guy to take it on the chin with these new gambling rules, but it always has to happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, candidly, as you're looking at and I think Josh has your
oh, there we go. But if you can scroll down, Josh, and see and I called him Isaiah Rogers. He responded to the tweet and he goes, I was thinking the same thing, or something along that.
Yeah, I mean,
he goes, like, WTF, I said the same, LOL.
I mean, you got to be careful, dude. Once you get hit, you're in the program. You don't want Commissioner Goodell seeing this and acting irrationally, maybe coming back at Isaiah Rogers. So yeah, no, I mean, I think when you tell the story of and look at all those division banners up there and NFC, I mean,
it's been a good run overall under the tenure of Jeffrey Lurie's ownership. Excellence has been.
Care to comment? You have made fun of Andrew Robb for hanging a division banner in his backdrop.
Well, no, I made fun of them because they had a losing record that year. Show me one of those banners, Ryan, where we had a losing record. Yeah, winning the NFCs. I'm old school. I still think that matters. I think it is a little funny that Andrew is so proud of the division in a year where they were sub 500.
Yes.
In a year where the Commanders football team Redskins needed the Eagles to take a look at some other quarterback options and evaluate, which ended up helping them win that division.
Yeah, which by the way, history has not been kind to the needing to look at Nate Sudfeld. Didn't know what he had in practice,
but
didn't know what he had there.
But Nate Sudfeld's still in the league, Ryan. And if you would have placed a bet as to whether or not Nate Sudfeld was still in the league in 2024, I'm sure you would have bet he wasn't in the league. So someone must be seeing something in Nate Sudfeld.
That was a shitty backup camp body. I don't know if that's helping the case.
Well, going back to the Eagles 2023 defensive DVOA 29th. Which was just a huge disappointment. Really didn't get the most out of a talented team. I'm optimistic that a guy like Jalen Carter is going to take a nice step up here in year 2. I think bringing in Bryce Huff helps the defense, helps the pass rush. Hoping Josh Sweat has a little better year, but also I would say too, like the Eagles, normally a point of weakness is their linebacker core, and while it certainly isn't going to be a point of strength, I think this year is like you would have to go back to the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl as far as like competent linebacker play. Zach Bond has looked good. Devin White, don't really know what happened in Tampa Bay, but he's been dominant in camp. And then Jeremiah Trotter Jr., a rookie, has been flashing a ton. And even Nakobe Dean, a guy who at this point I don't have super high expectations on, he's looked
steal of the draft.
Well, I think he was certainly worth the risk. He has his issues in pass coverage, but if they can get anything out of him, I was not really planning on that. So the linebacker position historically, under the way the Eagles run their team and what they allocate assets to, has been a point of weakness. But I don't think it's a point of strength, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be dragging the defense down. And offensive line, I think, yes, losing Kelce to retirement is big. But I'm optimistic still at their offensive line. Jeff Stoutland very confident in his ability to coach up a winning offensive line.
Yeah. So you're good with the new center guard pairing?
Yeah, I think Cam Jurgens has started a bunch of games in the league. If you know Jeff Stoutland, he doesn't necessarily teach positions. He teaches you how to play offensive line, and that's created some positional versatility historically for the Eagles offensive line. Cam Jurgens was a guy that Kelce helped scout, and Kelce like basically helped pick out his successor. So if Jason Kelce thinks he's going to be a good center, I will share his take there. Mekhi Becton looks like he could be playing right guard. And yeah, Tyler Steen, if Mekhi Becton doesn't work out, I think is a suitable right guard. You're looking at left guard, Landon Dickerson, probably one of the best guards in the league. Jordan Mailata, top half left tackle, maybe top 10, and then Lane Johnson continues to be one of the best tackles in the league. So yeah, I'm feeling good about the O-line.
Yeah, it does seem like a couple injuries to that interior, and it's a much different looking unit. I mean, doesn't Landon Dickerson get hurt every year?
It's weird. He's perpetually banged up, but he doesn't miss full games. He'll come out for like a drive or so. But he is perpetually nicked up. He's always playing through something, but somewhat reliable in a weird way.
Yeah, that would be on the offensive side, I think it's hard to look past the new pieces on the interior of the offensive line for a team that has historically been very good in that area, very good at the tush push, very good running the ball in the interior. And then on the other side of the ball, you kind of brushed over it. Maybe we bring up the additions and losses because coach is not listed on our additions and losses, but it does strike me as odd that they kept the same scheme, just brought in like the guy who created the scheme versus a guy running the scheme.
Well, I don't know if the scheme was the issue. I think it was more the lack of accountability. It was just a complete disaster. You
got to give the scheme some credit for sucking. I mean, if you're going to point out their defensive DVOA, I certainly think the scheme takes some credit, and it's in line with what we've seen happen to that scheme across the National Football League. It's a scheme that's essentially been retired. I mean, Brandon Staley, certainly a poster child for it sucking. He as a Fangio disciple out there in Los Angeles. And I don't think he has any more of his former assistants at the helm of any defensive units anymore. And so this is either to what you've been saying, like, okay, we finally got an adult in the building.
Yes,
this is going to be a different situation than we saw last year, or we're just stubbornly attacking it the same way we did last year and expecting different results. And of course, everyone knows that Einstein would call you insane if you thought that. And so I do think we are glossing over two clear and obvious like potential points of weakness. That being said, it's hard to be too low on this team this year because last year was probably one of those. All right, a lot of things didn't go right. We still got to where we got to.
Yeah, I mean they were still 11-6. They still had quality wins over the Chiefs, Dolphins, Bills. And I think just winning all those close games, I think eventually took it out of them. And then they hit a wall.
Well, Super Bowl hangover as well. So what do you credit the last end of the season with? Who are you blaming?
I'm blaming primarily the coordinators. I think it was just
Jalen Hurts get any of it?
Oh yeah, I think Jalen Hurts definitely hit a wall as well there with the offense, with the coordinators. It was just.
You think
bad
he handled it well?
What do you mean? Do I think he handled it well?
Well, I'm not going to be like you and dig into the tabloids, but there definitely was reporting around friction towards the end of the season. Do you think that was Jalen not handling it well because he now has all this newfangled responsibility and power with a big contract? Or do you think this is the coaching staff not handling it well? Because it seems like you're blaming the coordinators, maybe also Sirianni unprepared for adversity.
No, I think, I think everyone deserves a ton of blame, including Jalen Hurts. He wasn't playing his best football at the end of the season. I think he deserves some blame there. I love the way they're attacking the offseason. I love everything I've heard out of Jalen Hurts, his mental mindset, and I think he's set up for a massive bounce back year. I to some point, I like some friction. I like hearing that there was friction. If the team totally collapses, if you're going 1-6 and there isn't friction, if you're okay with being fucking losers, that's what I would have a problem with. There should be some rumblings that they were butting heads. You guys are 1-6, losing to teams you had no business losing to. There should be some head butting. There should be some friction. There should be some fucking arguments. Flip over a table, get pissed off. I would much rather hear that than, yeah, they're just fine being losers. That to me would be a troubling sign. I don't think Jalen Hurts is okay being a loser, and I don't think he's going to be a loser in this upcoming season.
I wouldn't pretend to know the locker room in Philly greater than you, but when you see guys like Kelce, Cox, to name a couple, leaving the building, Boston Scott, you gotta wonder. There's definitely some leadership void as well.
Yeah, and I think that's getting filled by a guy like Jalen Hurts, who is taking a more vocal leadership role and maybe wasn't as vocal as he should have been last year, leadership wise.
Yeah, no, and I guess that my thesis was wrapping back around to a number again. If we're saying Sirianni was ill-equipped for the adversity last year, and now we have a whole bunch of new leadership within the player ranks, a little bit of maybe some bumps in the road early on, and maybe we're back to the same place. I do think there is a decent amount of volatility in this team. I don't want to call it a super team, but a lot of people are just glossing over critical losses to say, yeah, of course this team will be back. They paid a running back a lot of money. That's the sharp move in the NFL.
We haven't even, I mean, we're what 15 minutes in. We haven't even mentioned the addition of Saquon Barkley
because they don't matter. Running backs don't matter. That's what you taught me.
I don't. Yeah, I
got you a gift too.
What is this? Oh, a Saquon jersey.
Maybe
well, thank you.
I can have the
dye that thing green, and I'll put it on.
I'll get one of my daughters to change the color.
I mean, green. Saquon's got to be excited playing with a real offensive line, playing for a winning franchise. He even talked about how excited it was playing in front of this fan base, going out in front of a public practice. There's 50,000 fans there. He's never. You have to go back to his Penn State days as far as having a team that really a fan base that gets behind you.
I mean, again, you can filibuster and try to distract people from reality, but the reality of the situation is he made a bad business decision, loser.
Okay.
And decided to go join a team that inexplicably thought it would be a smart move to pay a running back a lot of money, one who is clearly on the decline from an efficiency standpoint. And as you've mentioned, not the same guy since the injuries.
I'll say this though.
And the offensive line that everyone keeps pointing to, massive hole potentially in that interior if these things don't hit. If Mekhi Becton or Tyler Steen or Cam Jurgens aren't at the level that you guys had in years past.
Well, Cam Jurgens was on the roster last year.
He was a guard.
Yes.
Big difference playing center. You know that, Sean. You know ball. And so if he doesn't just step in and help replace what Jason Kelce was, which is a extremely strong mover of men, then yeah, I absolutely think this idea that Saquon is going to this elite offensive line and snap your fingers, he's going to be great. That's crazy. People betting on him to win Offensive Player of the Year are fucking stupid. Come on. I can say it clearly now, but he clearly was on the downfall. I was even saying this as a Giants fan when he was on the Giants. It was not a point that I was arguing with you about strongly. So to see you now flip the script and all these Eagle fans and even the national media being like, oh, he's just going to be, add water and he's an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. All right. Good luck.
I haven't said he's an offensive, certainly a candidate, but he would not be my pick for Offensive Player of the Year on the Eagles offense. I think when you're facing light boxes because they can't load the box because you have AJ Brown, because you have Devonte Smith, because you have a dynamic passing game, because you have a mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts, I think that creates some favorable situations for Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. And yeah, I don't think you should spend massive draft capital or pay a running back money that prohibits you from doing other stuff in free agency. And the Eagles were very active in free agency. They were able, they did new deals for AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. So
they could pay.
They could pay. Yes. I mean, Howie Roseman, say what you will. He's had some misses in drafts. Certainly you would probably grade that as his weakness, but he is an expert when it comes to managing the cap, and he's put out a very good roster on the field once again, and a lot of reasons to be optimistic about this team.
From what I understand, the Eagles are amongst a relatively small group of teams that really can't afford to have the NFL lose the lawsuit, the DirecTV lawsuit.
They won.
It's not done yet.
Oh, they overturned it.
It's not done yet.
Okay.
There's more appeals and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, if you're
no, I'm just pointing out facts.
Okay.
I'm not rooting for anything.
So the Eagles franchise will come crumbling down because of the DirecTV lawsuit.
They are more aggressively leaning on the idea the cap continues to expand.
Yes. Continues to go up.
Which that would be hurt if they lost a big lawsuit.
I would also bet on the cap continuing to go up. I'm continuing to bet on the NFL.
But so you're going to completely ignore everything you've said about Saquon in the past and pretend like it didn't happen? Oh, the answer is yes. We can just say yes and move on, because I have some predictions about Saquon this year.
Yes.
Predictions about Saquon this year. You're going to learn how fucking sensitive he is about the comments. One, we'll see how that goes for him. Two, he dances a fuckload. He's not a guy with great vision. It's going to be just like Swift last year, where you're going to have some games where you're like, yeah, look at this guy. And then he's going to look like shit. And three, he's not a good pass catcher. Stop telling me he's going to he's going to add to the pass catching game for the running backs in Philly, a team that wasn't exactly doing that anyway. So I would say Saquon's a regular dude. I wouldn't draft him in the first or second round in a fantasy draft right now. And yeah, no, Eagles fans, I guess, have to sleep with the fact that they're just going to go right back into being boomers on their front lawn with a rocking chair.
It's not like they're building their team around Saquon Barkley, Ryan. He's the icing on an awesome cake.
He's one of the favorites to win Offensive Player of the Year.
He's
I mean,
you want to talk about TMZ? You're everything you're responding to is TMZ headlines.
What do you mean?
This is a pass.
I'm responding to you being optimistic and saying positive things about Saquon Barkley.
I think he will be a nice addition to the team, and I think he will provide them with some burst. They also drafted Will Shipley, who I think could be a nice addition to the team, and they still have Kenny Gainwell. So I'm not really worried about the running back position. Yes, losing Jason Kelce is a loss, and yeah, if Cam Jurgens is a complete disaster at center, that will be bad for the Eagles. I'm optimistic. They've brought him up slowly. They've had a succession plan for Jason Kelce in place, and I'm optimistic it's going to work.
Yeah, he is replacing a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
So the level is a little higher than just being okay. Let's see. I mean, I'm excited because Dexter Lawrence is going to fucking destroy him. Is the one he couldn't handle Jason Kelce. That was the only guy in the league. So excited to have not Jason Kelce there. But yeah, no, I have enjoyed the Eagles fans just completely forgetting what they've said about Saquon Barkley for the past 5 years. That's been my favorite part about this offseason.
You sound pretty nervous, Ryan. I'm not pretty scared.
No, I see. This is where it's the fact that I came into this saying I think the Eagles have a pretty high floor this year because it would be.
I agree.
Yeah, no, exactly. But then I'm also pointing out all this bullshit, and you're like, silent.
What do you mean?
You're nervous.
I've been responding to it the entire time. What have I not responded to?
The idea that you're back in on paying a running back $13 million a year because it didn't prohibit you from doing something.
Look at the market. That wasn't like a crazy backbreaking deal for a running back. They didn't draft him number 2 overall. If they drafted a running back in the top 3, I would be pissed off.
Okay.
You act like that.
No, I'm good with it.
Paying a guy $13 million, the way this roster is constructed, what did it stop them from doing in the offseason? What deal should they have done that the Saquon deal prevented?
I mean, I think it's going to be revisionist history, but it will be, I'm sure, something on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
they brought in Bryce Huff. They didn't want to pay Hassan Reddick. They didn't want to deal with him holding out.
He was a dude. He performed.
Yeah, he did, but Howie Roseman said he didn't think it was worth it, and maybe that was Howie Roseman getting a little too cute. I would have liked to see Hassan Reddick on this team, but also I understand not giving a guy max money at his age, and instead, rolling the dice on a young buck there in Bryce Huff.
Yeah, I mean, Reddick is old, but Saquon Barkley's not old.
No, I didn't say he's old.
Okay,
I wouldn't, pay him, crazy guaranteed money. Look at what the rest of the running backs got paid this year. Like, it's in line with the market.
Sure. I mean, I just don't. I guess my biggest beef with the narrative this offseason is that he's going to this much better situation, which means he's going to have a great year. And I think the leap of faith of him changing the style of runner he's going to be to work better behind this offensive line, and because he created some of his own problems, and I think that's like very much glossed over, and the fact that he's just not explosive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon to me,
he wasn't explosive last year.
I'm not looking at this season as like, oh, we got Saquon Barkley, it's a super team. I'm looking at it as I feel good about the running back group with Saquon Barkley, with Will Shipley, with Kenneth Gainwell. I think it's a slight upgrade of what we had over, and I'm not expecting the running backs to carry the team offensively. I'm expecting the offense to run through AJ Brown, Devonte Smith, and Dallas Goedert. That's what I'm expecting the offense to run through. I'm not saying,
Giants, Eagles
Saquon
games.
Barkley is a game-changing offensive player.
I think a lot of people are.
Okay, well, talk to those people. You're talking to me right now. I'm telling you, it's AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and the passing game that is going to move the ball and win this Eagles team some games. Saquon Barkley, is he a better version of DeAndre Swift right now? I would think so. I also like the pick in Will Shipley, and Kenny Gainwell still has a little left in the tank. That's my evaluation of the running backs. I'm not saying the offense is going to run through Saquon Barkley. If Saquon Barkley is the guy getting the most yards and most touchdowns on this Eagles team, I would be shocked and completely surprised.
The market disagrees with you.
Well, Ryan, we're going to find some value there.
AJ Brown would be a
wait till we get to
favorite to an offensive player.
Wait till we get to our future bets. Of course, if you're looking to get down on some Eagles action, you want to fade Saquon Barkley like Ryan over here, you can go to underdogfantasy.com, use the promo code SGP and get you a deposit match up to $250 in bonus cash. Right now, Saquon Barkley, 1160.5 rushing yards. The higher is spicy, Ryan. So maybe you want to look to play the lower as a former fan of Saquon. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN, and we're also brought to you by Circa Sports, Circa Millions. You can get come out for contest weekend next weekend, August 22nd through the 24th. We will be out in beautiful Las Vegas, hanging out. The ultimate contest weekend. There's a bunch of open bar events. Great time to come sign up for the contest. Put in your NFL futures. Hang out with Ryan and I. And roll the dice. Get in for these contests for your chance to win 16 million guaranteed. Zero rake. Derek doesn't take any money to run a contest. He is a true gentleman. You can enter in Nevada. You can play from anywhere. Just head over to circusports.com. Get set up over there, and of course, use our proxy.footballcontest.com. Use the promo code SGP. You can also find the proxy button on our website, or just hit up Vegas Manny. Tell him the Sports Gambling Podcast sent you. He will get you going, get you set up, and take care of you for the contest. Circusports.com. Chat is electric, Ryan.
Yeah, it's just like the world. They like to see hate.
Lube Gaiman says loves the bickering / popcorn. What do we got here? Some chat is lit.
Yeah, a lot of I think a lot of people saying, wow, great points by Ryan across the board.
Easy is with you, Ryan. He's leaning into the tabloids. He believes Nick Sirianni will be fired by the end of the season.
Yeah, I do think we probably didn't discuss enough about Sirianni at the wheel. Like, he seems like the classic coach. When things are good, things are good. And when things aren't good, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I mean, certainly he deserves a ton of blame for handling the coordinators, handling the situation, his side of the relationship with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, things went sideways pretty quick there after they hit the wall after 10-1, and yeah, the bar is set pretty high here. He probably doesn't have a lot of slack for a losing season because of the talent they have on this roster. So he's dealing with a lot of pressure. I think if you take a couple steps back and look at Nick Sirianni overall, his tenure in Philadelphia, I think if you talk to most fan bases, they would be happy to have the kind of success Nick Sirianni has had in his coaching tenure.
Yeah, sure. No,
34-17, and they got to a Super Bowl in 3 years. I think if you told me that when they hired him, I probably would have taken that. Now the bar was set really high because of the 2020 year where they got to the Super Bowl. They were up or tied there against the Chiefs. Game fortunately slipped away. They got outplayed by the Chiefs. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Hats off to them. And then they had the hangover year last year. This is obviously a make it break it year for Sirianni. And a ton of pressure on Jalen Hurts as well. They paid him. They have high expectations for Jalen Hurts. I think rightly so. He has high expectations for himself. And yeah, if they don't have a good season here, it's certainly heads are going to roll. The Philadelphia Eagles are not a team that tolerates losing, and that's why I like Jeffrey Lurie. Let's take a look at the odds here for my Philadelphia Eagles. Win total set at 10.5. Last year was a crazy high 11.5. Make the playoffs -280. Miss playoffs +220. Division -125. Conference +550. Super Bowl 13-1. Of course, Eagles coming off a season where they were 11-6 straight up. 7-8-2 ATS. Win total was 11.5. Kramer, you got it right by saying the under. I had the over, which man, they almost got it even with the collapse there late. And if you're playing along, the phrase that pays, the word for the Eagles episode is IS. That's it. That's the word. And win total records from last year: 16-10 for me, 18-8 for Ryan. I see a couple losers coming up for me, but as far as the rest of the remaining teams, but yeah, any big picture thoughts, Ryan, before we hop in the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, slight adjustment on last year. I think the only thing that you've said that I think crystal clear agree with is the idea that they are coming off a year that a lot of things went wrong.
Yeah, I mean the turnover differential alone -10.
Which so looking forward, assuming the right things change, you expect there to be some positive steps. Assuming the same scheme on defense isn't just running back the same dumpster fire. And assuming bringing in a coordinator who hasn't really had a ton of success, but keeps getting jobs is a positive. So that, but if those things work out, it should be good.
Joining us on the line to break down the Eagles schedule, special guest, Tom Green, AKA my dad. Dad, you hearing all this bullshit that Ryan's trying to say about the Eagles?
I hear it every year. It's the same story.
All right, Dad.
You can have your Danny Dimes and good luck.
Where are you at? Where are you at with the Eagles coming into the season, Dad?
I don't know. I think this year, Sean, we might go all the way.
All right, bold prediction.
I say that every year. I don't see any reason why we won't. I really like the offense.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about that third wide receiver slot.
Okay.
I love the move to bring Beckham inside the right guard under Stoutland University because I don't know that was a rookie Tyler Steen or
Steve.
I don't know. This he's a giant. He's like
he's huge.
3 something. So our third tight end, I don't really even know who he is. I like Cacciatore or whatever
Grant Calcaterra, I think.
Cacciatore. I like a good Cacciatore.
Cacciatore, though, that sounds like a great nickname for him.
Yeah. No, he's playing good. The linebackers are a question mark, but Trot Jr. is the fan favorite back
Mini
there.
Axeman, yeah.
And he picked one off yesterday. That was cool. And Jacoby Dean, he's playing better. But and then the slot, I think you're going to bring that our number one pick, put him at the slot, although I like Maddox. I haven't really heard much from, the D line, those Georgia Bulldogs inside there.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess everybody's worried about the D, but, we'll see.
Yeah, I think Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, certainly a huge make or break year for Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
Going into year 3 here, Jalen Carter, I think, really could make a nice leap up for the Eagles here. I think he's a fun shot for defensive player of the year. And yeah, the secondary, like they're going to put Quinyon Mitchell, it sounds like, at the nickel spot to get him out on the field. Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay on the cornerback spot. And if Avonte Maddox is the backup nickel, that's pretty good. And then CJ bringing him back into the fold for safety. I'm optimistic the secondary is going to be better than last year, and that's really part of the reason they were falling apart.
Is Bradbury playing safety?
Bradbury has taken it like a champ, and he is. They've switched him to safety.
He's a smart player. He'll probably be good at it.
He's like second or third string safety right now, and
I guarantee he's playing snaps for the Eagles.
I mean, again, like Bradbury's issue was speed, right? So when he lost his speed last year, he was kind of cooked as an outside corner. But to your point, Ryan, like having him in the safety rotation, like they certainly have more depth than they had in the secondary last year, as far as like guys that I feel like could come out and play and give him a decent look.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. So he'll probably play wherever they let him play.
If they don't cut him,
if he gets to play. But like, what would be the advantage to cutting him? Do you think we could trade him? Does he have any value at all? Even
no.
No, I mean he is. Yeah. No. He's just a guy that they're like weighing the balance of, whatever salary cap savings they could have by cutting him versus, to Ryan's point, he's an experienced veteran player, and adding some depth.
Doesn't talk shit. Probably needs some leaders on the defensive side of the ball with those Georgia Bulldogs up front.
Ryan likes to make fun of Jalen Carter's unfortunate racing.
He
drives the team bus, right?
We don't have Fletcher Cox to keep him in line.
All right, let's talk about the schedule. Dad, your camera's off. I don't know if you intentionally.
No, I didn't. I don't know what's going on. I
thought you were doing something private.
I don't know. You turned it off, but all right, Ryan. Let's break down the schedule. Get my dad's take on
this
these
is
games.
Gonna be great hearing his take on water.
Start cam. Hold on. There we go. I think I'm back on, but this is my regular.
There we go. Oh,
Dad, you're wearing your golf outfit, right?
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna run up. I had put on one of my many Eagles shirts. I actually had Brotherly Shove on there.
Oh, nice.
But Yeah, I got to go out the door. I got to catch it sometime.
He's got a tea
wow.
time.
All right,
So
well,
we're up.
let's get
We're
through
up
it.
against it, Ryan. Come on.
All right, so first up, we're heading down to Brazil with all the bottled water.
Oh,
Hopefully,
That
now,
scares me.
yeah. See, Tom's on my camp of why the hell do we need to play a game of Brazil to start the season? Get everyone with a 3 to 4 week stomach bug? No, thank you. It's Friday night. It should be a cool environment down there. Just don't wear green. They've been told. Then you have the Falcons on Monday Night Football at Saints at Bucks. So they do the NFC South tour to start the year with the Packers game sprinkled in, and then an early bye week.
Yeah,
all of this is
I
a
don't like
strange
that
start.
early buy. I don't like the early buy.
Yeah,
But
I mean, with the veteran team, I would rather a later buy. I guess the positive is, they are bringing in 2 new coordinators. Granted, they're veteran coordinators, unlike last year. So if there are some issues with the scheme, with any sort of stuff, maybe you can address it early. That's the optimistic take.
Mhm.
And if you are going to lose a game internationally, I'd rather you do it the opening game where you have plenty of lead time up, and then you have kind of a mini bye because you go from a Friday to a Monday night home opener. Very, very confident about taking care of Kirk Cousins at home. That game in Brazil, that's going to be a interesting matchup, but I like fading the hype of the Packers, and I think this Eagles team will come out with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
The back-to-back road games, you don't love them, but they've done. I don't know. They did well last year in Tampa Bay in the regular season. Of course, the playoff game was a disaster.
Yeah, and I'd rather do it early in the year. That kind of stuff.
They're favored in all 4 games, Sean.
I'm gonna be conservative here and go 4-0. This team starts out hot under Nick Sirianni. What was it? 10-1 and 8-1 the past 2 seasons. I think they come out with the chip on their shoulder. Ryan, what do you have the Eagles going in these first 4 games?
Well, technically, this is another team that has 3 road games in their first 4. That they lose a road game for the Brazil game. I do think I will also be fading the Pack. Which, by the way, Sean, we will be live on the air for this game. I don't know if you put on the math. It seems likely we will be live on the air for this game. I think they win the first 2, and I think they struggle with the road games here. 3 and I'll be optimistic though, and say 3-1.
Dad, what do you got?
First
4 games.
I don't know. I think we can go 4-0.
Right. I like that. Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, come on. They dropped one of the road games. Right. All right. Week 6, Browns at home. Then week 7 at New York to take on the Giants. Saquon revenge spot. Bengals on the road week 8. So another back-to-back road spot. Second one in the first 8 weeks of the season. And then a game against the Jags on Sunday Night Football. The return of Doug Peterson with his side piece, Trevor.
Yeah.
Another one where the Browns, that'll be an interesting matchup. See what happens if the offensive line gets neutralized. Giants, but I mean this is an interesting stretch, Sean. I'm curious on your record for this stretch.
I'll go 3-1. I do think at Bengals could be a tricky spot, especially back-to-back road spots. After destroying the Giants, maybe they rest on their laurels there. You got back-to-back Tiger games in the Bengals and the Jaguars. Browns at home. The Browns do have a good defense, but as we've pointed out in the Browns preview, there is a big difference between the Browns at home and the Browns on the road. Although Jim Schwartz maybe a little chip on his shoulder. I'll go 3-1 because I could see them dropping either the Browns or the Bengals games. Kramer, what are you doing?
Well, they have. I'll say 2-2.
2-2. Wow.
Well, I think that it could be worse though. Could be worse.
Dad, what do you think? These 4 games. What do you got the Eagles record?
I don't know. I would say 3-1 sounds about right. Maybe we lose to the Jaguars.
Ooh,
3-1. All right.
If that's a potential loss, I might have to downgrade. All right, week 10, another stretch here with 3 road games in 4 weeks. The schedule it seems harder than I've been told it is.
Well, I would also point out after week 12, I know we had this argument, Ryan, but
Eagles can't afford planes, so they ride the bus.
After week 12, they will not. No, they get on the nice Acela trains. They get the first. After week 12, they don't have to get on a plane.
That is
Oh,
huge.
wow.
That's huge.
See, look at
I
my dad
think
loves
that's
that
huge,
nugget.
yeah.
It makes up for the fact that they potentially are going to come back with some foreign contagion in their bloodstreams from Brazil. All right, at Cowboys, Commanders at home on Thursday night football. That's an easy win. Someone was playing the clips. Some clips of that Michael Vick game on Monday Night Football where he just goes deep to Deshaun Jackson. Maybe the first play of the game. Pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
At Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football to take on the Rams, and then at Ravens. This is undoubtedly a tough stretch for the Birds, and maybe some adversity hits. So I went 3-1, then 2-2. Now I'm at 1-3.
1-3. Wow. So you have the Eagles 6-6 through 12.
Yep.
I would certainly bet against that being their record. Commanders at home, great spot for them. At Rams, I'm sure I'll be at that game. It will feel like an Eagles
Philly,
home game.
You think they'll be have a lot of fans at that one?
Yes. I mean, last year it was crazy. We're going to run it back. I think 2-2, and then at Dallas, at Baltimore, maybe they lose one of those. I'll go 3-1. So 10-2 for me, first 12. Dad, what do you got this stretch here? It is 3 road games.
Yeah, no, I think 3-1, and we lose. We're not gonna lose to the Cowboys. Neither one of those games.
No, I'll say it's gonna be the Ravens. So 3-1.
So,
well, we did have a lot of losses in our Cowboy. We did have them both projected at 3-14.
Yeah, we had the Cowboys at 3-14, Dad. So
we gave them a couple wins. We found a way to give them a couple. All right, close.
Now this is even my alleged bias towards the Eagles, Ryan. Even as an impartial observer, this 5-game stretch is awesome, and it's a great opportunity if there is any adversity early for them to really close strong here.
All right, so we close it out with 4 out of 5 at home, and the road game is against the Commanders, who do tend to show up from time to time against the Eagles. Panthers, Steelers, Commanders, and then Cowboys and Giants. Again, the only road game there is the Commanders. Is there? I think they lose either the Commanders or the Steelers game, and they just pray Tommy DeVito's not playing week 18.
So you go, Ryan, because
4-1.
Yeah, I mean
maybe 3-2, but I'll say 4-1. What's that get? What am I at?
You're at 10-7. So you're under the 10.5 win total. It is a high win total.
I've been really nailing these. I think I'm going to come in a little for someone who loves an under. I think I might have too many wins. So far. I started putting together the grid.
Even as a biased, allegedly biased fan, how could you? Even 3-2 feels like maybe the Steelers as a dog is always interesting. 3 division games. Can they sweep the division there? Certainly possible. I think. I mean, I got to go 4-1. I really don't see that. Even 3-2 is like, all right, that's a rough situation. But I'll go 4-1. Dad, what do you got at these last?
I mean, I hate to be a copycat, but I'm thinking the same thing. 4-1, right. And maybe it is Washington because they do seem to step up, or the Steelers. It's not the Cowgirls, that's for sure. And if Danny DeVito's playing by then, oh Christ,
they're in trouble.
Yeah, we won't even have to analyze. Now, what I'm worried about is we don't play any of our starters those last 4 games, and then we have to go into the playoffs cold. So,
it's a good problem.
Other than that, I mean, I guess
All right, Dad. So you and I both have the Eagles going 14-3.
Wow.
And what do you any futures bets you want to give out? Eagles to win the Super Bowl, Eagles division, the conference.
Well, I got them going all the way to the Super Bowl and winning.
All right.
Okay.
They're going to win the Super Bowl. Yep.
Who are they going to beat in the AFC?
Probably the Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Revenge.
Yeah.
So 15 to 1. Is that the best price we can find out there?
Yeah, we'll call it Eagles 15 to 1. Although the exacta Eagles over Chiefs, I think, is pretty fun there. I think Eagles over Bengals is a fun Super Bowl exacta. I will toss in there. Dad, I know you got to get to a tea time. Appreciate you calling in.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
anytime.
All right, let it ride.
All right, take care, guys. Have fun.
Give us a go Birds before you.
Let's go
Side-
Birds.
He's back.
Here, hold on.
There you go.
Hold on.
Yes. All
Remember
right.
this one, Sean?
Yeah, the
One of
Eagles
the
know.
many memorabilias we have. That was your Pop-Pop's favorite.
Oh, there you go. Pop-ups, sweet Eagles know. All right, thanks, Dad. Let it ride.
All right, adios.
All right, we're going to talk a little more futures before we do. Shout out to Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, your place for AI picks and props. They already have their college football week 0 plays ready to go. NFL week 1 stuff trickling in, and it's so fun. You can come up with your own custom model, run tons of scenarios. It's the NFL. It's football. Who doesn't like breaking down the data? Even if you're a gut handicapper like myself, I do run some data, and I've gotten into playing around with these models because it can't just be one thing, Ryan. And Rhythm really helps round things out. And if you don't want to make your own model, you can just have Rhythm make it for you. They've been very sharp in the WNBA and golf, and looking forward to picks, props from them all season. Claim your 7-day free trial today. Get going over on Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM. Okay, Kramer. What do we got here?
14-3 might be the lowest prediction your dad's ever given us. Are we worried about the team this year? He's usually at like a 15-2, 16-1 level.
Yeah.
I'm worried. If I'm an Eagles fan, I did like his in-depth knowledge of the roster. That's something we didn't talk about. Are they really going to play both rookies in the slot?
What do you mean?
Or are they not playing both of the rookies in like a nickel slot role?
No, I mean, well, Cooper DeJean is like just getting back on the field now.
Okay.
He's been dealing with the hamstring. I think they're going to take it really slow with him.
I just read a practice report where they were, essentially alluding to the idea that they weren't looking at them playing outside right away.
No, I think
because of that Rodgers kid.
I think the original. I mean, they drafted Quinyon to be the starting outside cornerback. And I think the idea was like, hey, we're going to bring you along slow, but he's looked so good. They're like, we got to get this kid on the field. So I think making him the nickel, and then, I don't know. It would have been interesting to see Cooper DeJean's role, but the injury set him back. I think they're taking a slow approach with getting him, again, also it's like rookie cornerbacks
suck.
They do, but I think Quinyon in the slot, I think, is kind of a perfect way to get him out on the field, get him some snaps early without him being that outside cornerback. And also too, like they weren't 100% sure with what they had with Isaiah Rodgers, and by all accounts, they are happy with what he's doing as the other cornerback aside from Darius Slay, Slay by all accounts has looked sharp in camp.
The speaking of drama, TMZ.
What do you got?
Well, just another season of Darius Slay.
Oh, come on. He's as far as cornerbacks. Yeah, you gotta have a little chirping with your cornerbacks.
He specifically has had drama with the team. That's all I'm saying.
With the Eagles?
Oh, he was gone, then he wasn't gone, and his wife, his girlfriend or wife's involved.
His wife fires off at Twitter. Like
he chirps back at some of the
play. I mean, come on. This is chirping on social media. That's nothing. So obviously I like the Eagles over 10.5 wins. Obviously I like the Eagles to win the NFC East. I'll put Eagles NFC at +550. And when I bet on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, they don't win.
Oh, what is this? You're not going to bet on them to win the Super Bowl just in case?
No, I'm not. Cause every year I've had Eagles Super Bowl futures for them to win. They haven't. In 2017, I restrained myself and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So out of jinxing the team, I do like the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, but I'm not gonna put the kibosh on them.
Sounds like a Lent thing. You're giving up betting on the Eagles this year.
Exactly. You understand how it works. Ryan, I know you're talking a lot about Saquon Barkley, but for me, I was just on the Circa app. AJ Brown, offensive player of the year, 60 to 1. I love that. I mean, DK has it at like 40-1, but again, with all these, especially the awards market varies tremendously. So definitely shop around. Yeah, I mean, you look at it.
Yeah, the market is clearly thinking it's going to be Barkley.
Yeah, which I don't agree with. I think I would much rather. I mean, even if they were priced evenly, I would much rather take AJ Brown than Saquon Barkley for Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, you look at the numbers he put up, even in kind of a season where everything went wrong. He still had 1,456 receiving yards, 106 catches, 7 touchdowns, and the stretch where they were looking pretty good. He had 6 games in a row with 125 receiving yards or more. Like, that is the kind of stretch run you need to get Offensive Player of the Year. You know, by all accounts, Kellen Moore bringing some nice motion to the offense, some pre-snap motion. I don't see, yes, I think Saquon is an upgrade over what they were doing previously at running back, and I'm sure he'll have a couple big games, some big plays. But this offense runs through AJ Brown. So if you're optimistic on the Eagles and the Eagles offense, you need to be optimistic on AJ Brown. Like, you could take Eagles #1 seed, but I think, like, I don't see them getting the #1 seed unless AJ Brown has a big year. So to me, the way to really cash in is to have a nice 60-1 on AJ Brown Offensive Player of the Year. I think Offensive Player of the Year, odds wise, I think would end up going to a receiver. And clearly AJ Brown is Jalen Hurts' guy, and the offense is going to run through AJ Brown.
Yeah, I do agree with your assessment of the situation.
Okay. And on the other side, Jalen Carter, I think it's gone down slightly, but I got it at circa again, Defensive Player of the Year, 67-1. He kind of checks the boxes of a guy that has the pedigree. Almost always the Defensive Player of the Year goes to, a top 10-ish type pick, a guy that can really impact the quarterback play, a guy that can get some sacks. You look at the advanced numbers for him. They were very favorable. Clearly Vic Fangio has been pushing him. He's been responding well to the coaching. I didn't like that he wasn't at Brian Baldinger's pass rush academy. Would have loved to see him out there. That being said, 67-1 for Jalen Carter, I think is a pretty good spot for him. So yeah, give me Jalen Carter Defensive Player of the Year, 67-1. Kramer, do you have futures you like?
I don't agree with that assessment as much as the AJ Brown one. If you look at just Offensive Player of the Year pricing, and then you look at who's being drafted in the first round of fantasy drafts, AJ Brown stands out in that group as being mispriced. You look at his price compared to all the other receivers being drafted in the first round. So I do agree with that. And I double agree with the idea that the Barkley is the guy that the market likes. It seems so hard. He would need to steal all of the Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns too, it seems.
Yeah. And if you were thinking, oh, hey, Jason Kelce's gone, they're not going to do the tush push. I mean, they practiced the tush push in the practice at the link. So I don't imagine a world where
they showed the world they're going to keep doing it. All right.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, I don't imagine there's a world where they're practicing the tush push and not going to do it. Right.
I don't know. I feel like there is an element of like too cute NFL action where like, let's show him something we're not actually going to do. But yeah, no, I would hope that you're only practicing stuff that you plan on actually doing in a game. Just my 2 cents on the situation. All right. Yeah, no, of course, Jalen Hurts to have the most interceptions. He was right there last year. You're telling me they're going to pass more? Of course I have to sprinkle this one. And, blessed the shops dangling 25-1s on this one. He was 15 interceptions. He was 6 off the incredible Sam Howell pace, only 3 off the incredible Josh Allen pace. If not for those 2 gems, he was the leader. So that, I'm a sucker for the interception market, Sean. By the way, they just opened the team unrelated because I don't have a play for the Eagles, but they did just open the kickoff return touchdowns. Which team will have the most? How do you even handicap this? What a wild, like the Commanders, Titans, Patriots, Panthers, Cardinals, and Broncos are the chalk. How do they even determine that? No. The only other thing I have because it's with their schedule, it's even difficult to try to find like, what are their last win or last team with a win. None of that made sense.
No, even the pricing for that, like last undefeated, that kind of stuff isn't particularly high enough.
I might look to them. I'd be curious. Again, we don't have the exact position in the division, but them to finish second would maybe be an interesting play. They're the favorite to finish first, so I would imagine they'll be second chalk to the Cowboys, maybe something like plus 150, plus 180 to finish in second. No, that's all I got. Just some shade for Jalen Hurts. Definitely look towards the under.
Jalen Hurts, most receiving yards in the NFC East.
Passing or receiving?
What?
Jalen Hurts?
NFC East passing yards. Okay. Most in the NFC East. Jalen Hurts plus 350, like that. AJ Brown, most receiving yards in the NFC East, plus 350, like that. All he's got to do is beat out CeeDee Lamb, who is he a member of the Cowboys?
Just
I don't
CeeDee
know.
Lamb?
Yeah, who else is going to give him a run for his money?
Well, the best receiver in the division, Malik Neighbors.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll bet against that. I'll take the AJ Brown at plus 350. And Ryan, Will Shipley, most rushing yards in the NFC East. What do you think that's at?
I mean, it's got to be one of those 200-1 gems, right?
150-1. I don't know. I'm not going to fire on it because.
Well, I'll get Sean.
Yes.
His rookie number is 80-1.
Oh, okay. Well,
that would be the more reasonable. I mean, it's crazy. You know who the second chalk in the rookie market is?
No.
Should have listened to our podcast. It's Jaden Daniels at plus 450. We were discussing this when it was like I believe 12-1. Brooks is minus 120. What world are we living in here, Sean?
So Will Shipley most rookie rushing yards is 80-1.
80-1.
Oh my God.
Sean, I don't think we've analyzed this market enough.
The rookie and the division leaders, I think, are, to me, those are so much fun because you're taking out some of the, obviously when you have 32 teams, shit can happen. But when you're putting it down to just the rookies and just the teams in the division.
Also, why is Jonathan Brooks minus 120? There's no interest in the Panthers to rush this thing along. This is and the quarterback is second chalk.
I think especially rookie rushing yards. There's a lot of scenarios. All it takes is one, a guy missing like 3 games and the rookie can go off.
And stay tuned because we're going to have a banger for the Chiefs episode in this market.
Oh, are we?
Oh yeah. It's 100-1. It's I don't want to ruin anything.
And Ryan, what do you like for your underdog play?
Yeah. So for underdog, the one area that does seem like they've changed that's going to be utilized a bit more. And if you go back and look in Kellen Moore, it vets out. It's Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
It very easy for me to tell you that the receiving yards prop for Saquon Barkley at a number north of 300 is insane. He's not going to have that. I didn't want to have negativity in the episode, so I'm a big fan of tight ends. Dallas Goedert, higher 3.5 receiving touchdowns. It just seems like the one thing I've taken away from my study of the Eagles this year is the rushing touchdowns around the goal line. I don't think are as certain as they have been in the past. And I think when you watch Kellen Moore's offenses operate, it kind of backs it up almost to a frustrating point at times where you're like, "What? Run the damn ball." So I do expect there to be more tight end. And you're reading a lot about this connection between Goddard and Hurts that seems to be pretty real around the red zone.
Yeah, no, that is mine as well. I got Dallas Goedert higher, 3.5 receiving touchdowns.
But I would take any of the Barkley lowers that aren't touchdowns. I do think he could dumb luck into a nice touchdown season.
Who?
Barkley. But everything else, I know people want to know, just take the under.
Yeah.
Or take the lower.
Take the lower, according to Ryan. I'm a higher guy through and through.
It's smoking my weed.
I like my dad's betting card here. Just over 10.5 wins at Eagles Super Bowl, 14-3. I am also 14-3. Ryan, a very reasonable 10-7. Still got the under wins though. Hurts most INT because he's drinking the haterade. We both agree on Dallas Goedert higher 3.5 receiving touchdowns.
The most interceptions is 25 to 1. By the way.
Oh, okay.
FYI for those who are going to keep receipts on me.
I will update that.
Wow, you really were just projecting on that number. You thought he should have been more chalk, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly what it. The AJ Brown offensive player of the year and Jalen Carter defensive player of the year. I mean, AJ Brown, like his numbers were insane. Like if he plays that last game, the entire game, or the offense continues somewhat what they were doing correctly those last 6 games, he would have been up. He would have beat out like he would have been neck and neck with Tyreek Hill. So the fact that you're getting that 60 to 1, like what has transpired in the offseason that's going to make you think they're going to throw to AJ Brown less? I don't understand why we're getting such generous odds.
Did they vacation together this offseason?
I don't know, but they're good friends on and off the field. And Jalen Hurts most NFC East passing yards, Will Shipley most rookie rushing yards at 80 to 1. And AJ Brown most receiving yards in the NFCs. Let's go Birds,
so
baby.
You're drafting Shipley over Gainwell.
In fantasy, I think so.
Okay.
Just because it's
end of an era.
End of an era. What?
Yeah, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, all the OGs of the running back.
You gotta rotate through running backs. You can't get too tied down to them. But yeah, I kind of like the upside of Shipley. I mean, he's like probably undrafted in underdog, Ryan. If you're like looking for a best ball long shot.
I'd also just circle the calendar when the Eagles play the Giants. Just bet the no on Saquon to score a touchdown.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
you don't think they're going to go out of their way?
No, I want the story about how they miss Boston Scott and how Boston Scott still has more touchdowns in games, Giants Eagles games, than Saquon Barkley, even though he's not on either team anymore.
Yeah, he is on the Rams, so that could be a revenge game against the Eagles. That's the only way I could see myself betting against the Eagles, is taking a Boston Scott anytime touchdown against the Eagles when they play him. But a shout out to you, Boston Scott. You'll always be an Eagle in my heart.
Wow.
And let's get it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the team previews.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, a stack of the money green. He's Ryan.
Well, best of luck to Saquon.
Kramer. Let it ride.